first, definitely want to thank you again for sitting down with us.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure speaking with you. Gonna see if we can get some questions in, but just to start, just to start.
God knows what you'll get.
How is your progress? We haven't seen you in a couple of months.
Yeah, a lot's changed. Our son's growing up, and we bought a home, and I turned part of my home into a rehab facility. So I've been busy with that, and it's been 2 months since I've been out here, and it's been progressing extremely fast. I've been fully cleared by my surgeon, but I'm not like I said last time. I'm not going to do anything until Dr. Laniel says that I'm ready to, because he knows what I'm going for. Whereas a surgeon thinks that you're okay just when you can do the things people can do in their everyday life. Well, I live a very extraordinary life, so I'm waiting for Laniel to give me the the okay, and everything's come back. I can do pretty much everything now. We're just working on making me better, making me better than I've ever been. So the progression's been great, and we're out here for a full week this time, and gonna come back next month. And now everything's kind of settled. My life has gotten a little less hectic, so I can concentrate more on training, and so it's all in the upswing.
And it looks like, did you put a ring in your? I think I saw a ring.
Oh yeah. We've been married.
No, not that ring, like a wrestling ring in your home.
Oh no, we haven't put a ring. There's actually a ring. Oh boy, two blocks away from my house. So there's actually I built a rehab facility. I just bought I bought the ISO machine from Laniel, and I bought a super cat, and the squat rack, hurdles, treadmill. Yeah, about.
So you have Revolution at your home.
Well, everything but the brain. So I have all the equipment, just no idea how to actually use it. So we did a lot. We put a lot of money into that. So it's something I always wanted, So so I'll probably try to help train some people and who are wrestlers in the strength conditioning side of things after I'm 100% cleared from Laniel. I'll get so that's my baby. So that thing.
And I know you said that a lot of things have changed as far as your family life. How is your son and your wife and everything that's going on outside of that? You spend more time at home now, so
it's good. It's good. Angelina's gotten back to wrestling, and she just got in from a show right now. No. This is my son. Go ahead, sit down. He's asking about the family. It's good. She's gotten back to wrestling, and she's decided where she wants to go. She's gotten interest from both parties in the wrestling world, and she'll decide that. And I can't thank TNA enough because they've stuck by my side and have taken care of me financially and taken care of my family. Therefore, so I can't say enough good things about them. And just getting back to being, me. That's the biggest thing is, not have to have my wife do things for me that I couldn't do for myself, which is really hard for a grown man to take. I'm the guy that's, considered the best wrestler in the world and wrestles in front of thousands of people and all, in Japan and Mexico and England and then the United States. And now for a while there, I had to have my wife, help me make toast. It's a very difficult pill to swallow. And then, I was worried if I was even going to be able to stand and hold my son, when he was born. And so I want, it's important for me to have my wife and my son see that, that no matter how much the chips can be down for me, because it sucked, man. I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. And I just signed this big contract, and I got done. I told my wife, and we never have to worry about money again, because I grew up always struggling for money. And then all of a sudden, all that's taken away from you, and not only can you not work, but you can't do anything. That's very hard. I'm fearful my son will grow up how I grew up, which is poverty. And so there's a lot of motivation there to get back to being me, the provider. And it's a big deal. So every day here and every day at home and every workout is another step towards that. So it's very important.
Let's kind of shift gears to you, Lauren. It sounds like you're getting interest from both parties, is what I heard. How did it feel to actually get back in the ring? I know a couple months ago you stepped back in on independent scene just because your contract was up with TNA. But how did it feel to actually, after you had your son, go back and do what you love to do?
I mean, it was fun, and it was actually a little bit weird too, because I mean, I've been wrestling for 16 years, and I took 11 months. Yeah, just about 11 months off, and I've never obviously taken that much time off in my career ever, not wrestling. But I was a little bit winded the first match back, but I did pretty good. It felt good to get back in the ring. I was sore, but it felt good to get back in the ring.
Okay, and your future. We're not asking you to announce it here, but what do you think's gonna happen?
I mean, anything's possible. Lots of doors are open. I've spoken to a lot of people, and I mean, I have a job outside of wrestling as well, which is nice. So, you know, I'm pretty much open to anything right now, and I just know that like whatever is going to be the best thing for our family is what I'll definitely go for. So.
Okay, and as Wes was saying, you know, you've been a big help to him. Once again, that we discussed in the interview that you had your son, and then you had to take care of an adult who you basically couldn't walk and was doing things rehab wise. We know how important family is to him, and we know how important family is to you. Just explain what your mindset was, during that tough time that you two had to go through.
Well, hearing, when Wes texted me, he was in the UK when he tore his ACL, and I had actually just left looking at a possible new house that we were going to get built, and then he gave me the news, and I mean, I've been there. I tore my ACL 10 years ago, so I know it's just the most devastating news you can get, as an athlete, and I was 9 months pregnant by the time he had his surgery, so it was a difficult time for both of us, but we definitely made it work. I mean, there's no way that I wouldn't have helped him, obviously, because I know that, like, when I tore my ACL, like, my parents came down from Canada to Atlanta when I was living there, and they helped me out, because it's pretty impossible for the first little while, so, yeah, and then, I mean, Wes was up and walking. Our son was born March 17th. He had surgery February 17th. And, I mean, he was there. He was walking. He could hold his son. And, I mean, he's just been recovering magically, almost. I mean, he's
Where did my finger lady? Goodness me.
he rehabs like a monster every day. He's the most driven and inspiring person, and he just wants to get better and get stronger, and he's also learned a lot along the way, as far as rehab and body mechanics and all kinds of things that go along with physical therapy for an athlete. So I'm really, really proud of him, and our son gets to watch him and get better, and I think he's getting to learn. He's going to be able to learn a lot from two very smart and awesome parents.
He looks like he's
Hungry.
Okay, fantastic. We still haven't got any questions yet. Gonna see, what did you guys, I mean, TNA been, with, you guys have been around since 2004, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah.
And recently, the Broken Matt Hardy, that's captivated a lot of people within the wrestling world, and it got a lot of people talking. What did you think of that entire storyline and everything between Matt and Jeff and how they are as performers?
I was really worried about how you want to text out that we're doing a Q&A?
Yeah.
I'll get some responses. I was really, weird about how, or not weird, very interested on how they would treat like guys like me and Eddie coming into TNA, because they were established stars, and those guys are the two of the most, giving and nice, humble people I've ever met in my life. And I really think this is something they've wanted. I mean, it's pretty cool. I think it's something they wanted to do since they were like little kids, and they, your little kid like, hey, we'll do this, and now they get to grow up and get paid for it. You know what I mean? So I think, hey man, listen, if they're having fun, and it's good business, hey, I'm all for it, man, because I can't say enough good things about those guys. You know what I mean? They're really good guys, and never done me wrong, so I got nothing bad to say about them.
And also, Eddie Edwards last week, you know,
Yeah.
that was really big. And I know you were really proud of him and everything they did. What did you think of his match with Bobby Lashley?
It was great. I mean, it's bittersweet because he didn't win. You know what I mean? But the fact that, you know, it's one of those things where you can win in losing. You know, I mean, he showed that he belonged. I think he walked out a bigger star than he walked in. So it's a win in that respect. And you know, he gained. There's an invisible ceiling that most people don't talk about in wrestling, where the guys they're good to a point, and they belong to a point, you know, and a lot of guys never break through that ceiling. You know what I mean? And it's very hard to break that ceiling because a lot of times it's people have a preconceived notion of what a main eventer is, and some guys at the top don't want the guys on the bottom taking their spots, and a lot of guys at the bottom just simply don't have what it takes. And Eddie kind of shattered all that and broke through to the top. You know, I was really happy to be there. You know, wish I'd have been in the ring, but you know, I got to stand beside it, so it was good too. And I came out of that being more motivated than ever. You know, which I didn't think was possible. So it was a win-win. So very proud of my brother. So
Do you think that with the people you had Moose debut a couple weeks ago, and the people that are at the top, is there a spot for you?
yes.
Oh, was that question?
I have I have zero interest in mediocrity. No. Everything I've ever done in my life, you know, from amateur wrestling to jiu-jitsu to, you know, going through, you know, college, being a paramedic, being a firefighter, being a father, being a husband, being a professional wrestler. Like, I have zero interest in anything less than the best, you know. You don't not care and drive out here and do this, you know, and bring your son and your wife, and, you know, so my only goal is to get my rightful place, which is at the top.
And young talent. Who are some of the younger guys on the roster that you think we should look out for, just as far as entertainment-wise or pure wrestling ability?
TNA's made some really good moves here, I would say, in the last 6 months, because they brought in a lot of good talent, and it's some of that, I think a lot of that we can really thank Shane Helms, because he got guys like Trevor Lee and Andrew Everett a job, and I've known those guys for a long time. They've always been great. I think guys like DJZ are really breaking out, and you know, really kind of breaking into their own. I can't say he's a phenomenal talent now, because he's always been a phenomenal talent, you know what I mean? So, but now he's putting it all together, and everyone finds their niche. So, I mean, those are three that come to mind first. You know, Mandrews is always, you know, you got to change that name, Mandrews, but you know, athletically gifted. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of great talent there, you know, and you know, even some of the, you know, the younger knockouts they're bringing in, you know what I mean? Like, everyone needs a time to, you know, they're not going to walk in and wrestle like Angelina Love, who's been doing this like, you know, like it's second nature for, you know, 10 years. They need some polishing, but like, they're hungry and they have that talent there, and it'll come, you know, just like everyone else, it'll come. So it's great. Future is very bright in professional wrestling everywhere.
What about you? Who are some of the? I know you're not in a certain fed right now, but who are some of the younger talents that you look to and you see good things in the future for them, or even now?
I think TNA hired a couple of them. Allison Kay, who's Sienna. You know, she is already given an incredible spot at TNA. She's a Knockouts champion. And Jade, obviously, you know, she came in. She had some tryouts, and a while later she got hired and got to do the Dollhouse, where, you know, she really broke out on her own as, you know, the breakout star of that group. And she got to become Knockouts champion as well, and she's totally, she's totally living it up. You know, she loves it up and down, and so I'm really happy for them. You know, they're getting their chance to be on the platform to share their talent with the world, and you know, they're really helping keep women's wrestling legitimate, which is very important.
Okay. Is there a date? I know you said you're waiting on Dr. Linnell to clear you to go, but you been out here for 4 days. Has he kind of given you any inclination of when you'd be back?
Yeah, I mean, the date I've set and like my surgeon set was November 1st to begin active wrestling again. We'll see, but we'll see how Laniel feels. You know what I mean? Laniel says I'm ready to go, then I'm ready to go. I'm actually getting a stem cell procedure done, which I'm freaking nervous about. August 2nd.
Yeah.
So that's supposed to really help things out. So then I've basically covered everything. I have the best physical therapy. I believe I have one of the best surgeons ever. Surgery went off without a hitch. Now I'm getting, I've done the PRP, and I've done like the clerics, the growth factors, and now I'm doing stem cells. So it's like, I just don't want to be one of those guys that's kind of like, used to move real good when I was 25, and the 35 rolled around, and I was kind of, take it easy, kid, because, I kind of only have one wrestling style, and that's full speed ahead. So, yeah, so we'll see how that goes, and then if I'm ready to go by October, man, I'm ready to go. That's what I'm working towards anyways, so we shall see.
And you, as Lauren said in her interview, you do a ton of research.
Yeah.
How did you come across the stem cell?
Boy,
We
that's
actually
a good
came
question.
across that. I looked up a place near-ish where we live before he even had to have surgery to see if there was any way that we could avoid it.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, there's a place maybe about 30 minutes away from where we live that we checked out that does this, where he's actually going to be getting his stem cells done. And just with him having a full tear, it's just, and the way that he wrestles and how he is as an athlete, it just wouldn't be enough to just get the stem cells done and not have surgery too. Maybe if it was a partial tear and it could kind of fill in and grow together, but he had a full tear, so.
Yeah, and that ties in. Preceding that, I had heard about Conor McGregor tore his ACL and came back in like 3 months without surgery, and I was blown away. I was like, how could this guy do that? And what I learned is he had done the stem cell. It was back before it was legal in the United States. He flew to Germany to do it, but he had a partial tear. So me and Lauren looked it up, but I wasn't a candidate because, as they put it, no, that mother effer's torn. So I had to get surgery. But now that is done, now that surgery's done, I can get the stem cells, and that should make everything. Because I blew my left ACL, but my right knee's been hurt too since amateur wrestling. That's what a lot of people don't realize is all those crazy matches you saw me in TNA in Japan and Ring of Honor. I was wrestling with a bad knee. So we only know what I can do with 2 good knees.
And we do have a question from Ghetto187.
Oh, him, yeah. Hey, Chicago guy. I think I owe you a T-shirt.
What would Davey Richards do to help bring new talent to TNA? Who would he want from ROH to join TNA?
You've put in a lot of work.
Yeah,
a lot of work for a lot of people.
The TNA office, they're such nice guys. They've got to hate my guts. They're like, yeah, Davey, okay, yeah, Davey, we got it. I'm always suggesting new people because I'm definitely not one of those people that wants to have my own little bubble. And if I'm in my own little bubble, then I'm the best. I'm the big fish in the small pond. I want to be around the best because then that pushes me to be the best. So.
And it's nice to be in a position too to be able to
help.
put in a word for somebody
Yeah,
and help
to help.
somebody else out,
Absolutely.
realize their dream too.
And I can testify to that. I tell people all the time, Wes, he retweets more of my stuff than my own family and my friends. So,
Yeah.
Everything that I do,
Yeah.
I totally appreciate it.
That's the biggest part of being in my position. It's not about, she'll tell you, I'm not interested in fame and glory, and I couldn't possibly care less. I'm so scared of people, it's not even funny. And all that kind of stuff, but I am put in a position, I believe, to help. And so, going back to people I would love to see from Ring of Honor, I really wanted Michael Elgin in TNA. I really wanted him, and TNA wanted him too, but Mike had a difficult decision to make because TNA and New Japan offered him, tryouts or deals or however you want to put it around the same time, and he did his thing. He always wanted to wrestle in Japan. And listen, I totally get that. I was there at one point in my life. Totally get that. As far as other people and Ring of Honor, it's hard to find bad talent in Ring of Honor. Those guys are all pretty talented. Obviously, for personal reasons, I'd love to have Kyle O'Reilly in TNA just because I miss beating him up. I'm sure he misses beating me up, and There's a lot of, ACH is great talent, I mean, Jay Lethal was just kind of floating in TNA and done great in Ring of Honor, and, I mean, so there's so much good talent everywhere. Wrestling is such a big boom right now. I mean, you go to WWE, or now you go Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Europe, I mean, it's all over Japan. It's, I can sit here literally all day and name off names from, various regions in the world, and, they're just full of, top talent, Not like it used to be, It used to be easy to be good at wrestling. Now you gotta actually work for it.
Advice you would give, this is from Ace Mania 26, advice you would give someone training to be a wrestler.
It's really easy. I did a Ring of Honor seminar one time, and which was a great seminar, and they ask you for that. They asked me that same question, and it's really easy to just give off like, well, you got to train hard, and you got take your vitamins and all that kind of stuff, and and show respect. But if I was to give you any kind of advice you're actually going to use, is you got to have you firmly got to convince yourself that you have greatness within you. That's the biggest thing, because I can tell you right now from experience, they're going to tell you it's all about who you know. I didn't know anybody. They tell you it's a big man's world. I'm 5'7". They're going to tell you it's being in the right place at the right time. I'm from a farm in the middle of nowhere, from a town that no one's ever heard of. And you're going to hear no a lot more than you hear yes. But you have to consistently tell yourself that no matter what wrestling throws at you, no matter what the wrestlers throw at you, promoters, or just the business itself, you have to understand that I'm going to move forward. There was a time when I had a really bad falling out with Ring of Honor, and I felt really, jibbed by them, and I will move forward. And that happened with me in Japan, too, and I will move forward. I blew my knee out. I will move forward. I broke my leg. I will move forward. You have to consistently have that mindset and believe in it, because you have to believe that you have something else inside of you that no one else can touch. No one else can do that but you. That's your thing. That's what makes you special. And if you can firmly convince yourself of that, because it is true in all of us, but you have to believe it, you're golden.
Right. And we got another question from Ace Mania 26. What was it like when you were facing the Eddie Edwards?
I hated wrestling Eddie because and he hates wrestling me, because we both wrestle the exact same style, which is just like it's like 2 4x4 trucks just ramming into each other. There's no advantage either way, and no one's gonna back down. He chops me harder, I'm gonna kick him harder. What I mean? If I'm going, at speed 10, he's going to go speed 11. Then I got to go speed 12, and then on and on and on and on and on him. And, it's one of those things, too, where, like, I just never thought there was a need for us to wrestle. My personal opinion, of course, because we just flowed so good as a team from day one. It was magic. But, people want to see it, and I totally get that. But, and I don't like there being... I don't mind wrestling Eddie so much as I mind one of us has to win and one of us has to lose, because in my tag team, in our tag team, pardon me, there is no winners and losers. I'm not above him; he's not above me. It's 50%, 50%, 100%. So it was thrilling. We're just completely thankful for the stage we were put on, and I think we delivered big time. From what I'm told. But I'm not looking forward to ever doing it again. But I know it's waiting for me. So say a prayer for my chest.
And I mean, that is a possibility I know you're looking to be in the main event scene and be the guy, because you want to be the best in the world.
Yep.
And with his recent push and his recent match with Ashley, it seems like there's a collision course happening
Always.
sometime down the road.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I don't mind going out there and wrestle him. I just, and we've been very lucky that we never had the thing where we had to be the goofy, we're breaking up and one of us turned on one another, you know what I mean? Like, because it was never needed for us, because the story's always real, It's like, why'd you wrestle Eddie? Because I want to be the best. There's only room at the top for one, so doesn't mean we hate each other. Like, I love that guy, I couldn't be more proud of him, but Yeah, of course of course I'm gonna try to beat him if I have the opportunity to. So, it is what it is. It's business at the end of the day. It's nothing personal, but we'll put it off as long as we can.
Okay. Now, I mean, a lot of people, in the internet wrestling community, everybody online, they know of the troubles TNA has had. And what do you say to those people that they don't really know, they're not in the know?
Right.
And I mean, this is your company, and I don't think
Right.
that you would sign a contract or do anything to jeopardize
Right.
like yourself or your family. What would you say about the issues that TNA has had, and where do you see them going in the future?
First, I guess I could just speak directly to those people. You honestly have to question what you're doing with your life if you find any enjoyment or invest any time into the downfall of others. Because, I find it very hard to believe that anyone that's doing anything worthwhile with their life or is happy with their life is going to take time to promote and make fun of people who are not doing so well. That's a very sad existence. I mean, that's no different than a rich man walking by a poor man and making fun of him. That's a very sorry existence of a human being. So right away, I have to question those kind of persons, just, moral compass. As far as TNA, I'm in a good boat to speak on this, I feel, because I don't need TNA for money. Like, I have an education, I have a great job that I love. I'm a full-time firefighter paramedic. My wife has a job, so I can literally say anything I want. And I can honestly say that before I got hired by TNA, I was done with wrestling. Like, I did everything I wanted to do, and I was done. And I thought I would go there, and it would be fun just to try wrestling on TV. And through being with TNA, I completely fell back in love with wrestling. So I don't know what goes on in that office every day, and I don't know who handles the money and what the numbers look like, but I can tell you that everything they've ever said they were going to do for me, they did it. They've always looked out for me. They've always checked on me. I just got an email yesterday from Dixie Carter saying how proud she was. Every time I've gotten hurt, she's checked on me. Big, John Gaburek, Dave Lagana, Matt Conway, they've always checked on me. Me and Lauren stopped by and went at the office on the way out here. And, I don't know. I don't. I think people love to, if people are miserable in their own lives, misery loves company, I guess can be the best way to sum it up. If they're miserable in their own lives, they love to, poke fun at someone else who may not be doing so well. But I was at that last taping, and if that is not a sign of a successful company by that crowd reaction, then I have completely lost my mind, which may be true. But that crowd was on fire, and that show delivered. And those shows have been delivering, and that talent is top notch. And if there's a talent in that company that's not happy to be there, they're doing a great freaking job of hiding it. Because people are motivated, and it's like, but you know what? I kind of like that though, almost. See, I'm kind of weird like that. I don't want to be the internet darling. I don't want to be, part of the thing that everyone loves. I like being the underdog or even the black sheep because I love proving people wrong. And that company's got the ability to prove a lot of people wrong, and we're strong. As far as our money troubles, I make more money now than I've ever made in my entire life, and especially off wrestling. And that's all thanks to TNA. And I am having, since I signed that contract, I haven't wrestled one match. And they've paid me every single time. So, I guess if you want to keep hating on them or keep saying your things, by all means, it's a free country, you can do whatever you want. But while you're sitting there hating, we're going to continue to move forward. Because like I said before, at the end of the day, that's what we're going to do. That's what's important in life, is moving forward. So.
And with the landscape of, everything, you discussed the brand split with Raw and SmackDown within the WWE.
Yeah.
And the influx of talent from the indies. Moose was a really big signing. He
Yeah.
turned down, the NXT contract to come to TNA.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of how, during the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars and everything, wrestling was at its peak. It was mainstream. You got stars like The Rock, Stone Cold.
Yeah.
You had stars in WCW with Hulk Hogan, and wrestling was everywhere. I was a kid. I grew up on wrestling. Doing the cross chop in the hallways, getting suspended from school and everything. And And it seems like now it's not as mainstream as it was, but it's starting to make that turn.
Yeah, I mean, and right before, the Attitude Era, wrestling was at its all-time low. So, I mean, it's ebb and flow. It really is. I mean, that's the way things work, things can't stay hot forever. I mean, that's in movies, that's in music, that's in everything, So it's just, it's going to take time for everything to get back there. Since my time in wrestling, I've been in over a decade, that I've never seen a talent level like we have now. You know what I mean? And I think, we have that mutual respect with, because mixed martial arts is so big. And I think for a while, pro wrestling was kind of looked upon as a jokes from mixed martial arts. But then you see some of the people that have gotten involved from mixed martial arts into wrestling and realize, man, these guys are legitimate athletes. This stuff is hard, and so that's always good. Like Will Moose, for example, is a former NFL player. He's still learning how, the ropes in wrestling. It's hard. It's not just something you walk into and just pick it up because it's quote unquote fake. It's I wouldn't be here right now if wrestling was fake, because I wouldn't have blew up my knee if it was fake. So there you go with that. So yeah, it's I feel it's on the upswing. I mean, the talent's there, the interest is there, and it's creating that buzz, and that's what wrestling kind of does. It kind of comes from out of nowhere. It just takes one thing, like the NWO and everything. All of a sudden, wrestling's cool again. You know what I mean? And it's that's exciting times. It's exciting times right now. I'm looking to get back in there and be part of those exciting times. So it's I can't wait.
You look really anxious right now.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard to sit out. I mean, coming here eases it because I can feel the progression. You know what I mean? I get so frustrated, with myself, and the hardest part is just sitting there at home. You know what I mean? It's that's why I stay so busy. I'm rehabbing so much. So that's why I had to build a gym at home, because me just sitting there, I'd be like, oh God. And so, this is my life. I am a wrestler. I was a wrestler since I was 10 years old. That's all I know. You know what I mean? So it's for me just to turn that switch off is kind of okay, well, let's just go ahead and stop blinking or breathing. It's how, So, yeah, every day is a little bit closer, though. So
We got a question from Pete Affronte, Pete0205. Hey, Richards Wesley, are you ever going to wrestle in Chicago?
I used to wrestle in Chicago all the time. Yeah, I used to wrestle for AAW there and Ring of Honor there all the time. Yeah, I'm open to coming back to AAW. Tell Danny Daniels to give me a call. I'll come up to the AAW and see what those guys are doing. I was there for a while. That was my favorite place to wrestle for a long time. Berwyn Eagles Club. And I was always late. I was always late. Yeah, man. I remember when I was young, we drive 5 hours from St. Louis. You drive up there and drive back and wrestle, easy, no problem. We're talking, everything's good times. And, a couple years from the roll, a couple hours in, you're dying, and then it turned into we had to start getting a hotel. But yeah, good times, man. Good times for AEW.
Okay, we got a couple more questions. This is from Sean O'Brien, Sean Neutron, on Twitter. He says, what is your proudest accolade / accomplishment in your wrestling career so far?
I've won world titles, wrestled in Tokyo Dome and all that kind of stuff, and had 5-star matches and all that. But I think the big thing I'm most proud of is I never kind of I always stood for something. You know what I mean? And I've gotten a lot of trouble with promoters and even pissed off a lot of fans too. But I have a certain way that I believe things should be, and I've always believed wrestling was a sport first, entertainment second. I believe the athletes should be so talented that it becomes entertaining. So I've always stood for that and never backed down from those things, even when I was asked to or people thought they were going to force me to. So I think just standing for something, standing for what I believe in, is always the thing that that I'm most proud of.
Okay. And since we started late, we'll run over a couple.
Sure.
Now you were talking earlier about wrestlers being athletes and
Yeah.
everything over the last couple of weeks with Brock Lesnar and his transition from UFC.
Yeah.
You know, him. I mean, we don't really want to talk about the controversy, but to go from that to actually fighting, going back after he had that battle with I can't say it, diverticulitis.
Diverticulitis, yeah.
Okay, he had that battle with that, and then to have the gumption to go back and make that change. And we got CM Punk's fight coming up here in the next month or so.
Yep.
You know, we all know that the backstory on wrestling and what the doubters say it's fake, blah 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 blah. But there's a certain level of athleticism that you have to have. I mean, if it was fake, everybody would do it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I amateur wrestled now. I mean, I went to college on an amateur wrestling scholarship, and, so, amateur wrestled for a long time. I got more beat up in professional wrestling than I ever did in amateur wrestling. I've competed in jiu-jitsu for the last 4 years, and I've had two MMA fights, and pro wrestling is still the hardest thing I've ever done. It's because it takes all those skills that you learn, and then you also have to throw in the entertainment aspect, and then you're on a complete time crunch. You know what I mean? And there's all these factors you have to be doing at one time. So, people like Brock Lesnar just kind of exemplify that. Now, to be fair, Brock Lesnar's a superhuman athlete, in any sport. But it's, wrestlers are the real deal, man. And of course, there's ones that are, you can go to any indie show and just see the guys that are not athletes and being ridiculous. You can also go to any amateur MMA fight and just see guys that are not athletes and just ridiculous. You can go to any high school football game, the guys are probably going to go somewhere, and the guys are like, oh boy, there's a homicide waiting to happen. You know what I mean? So that's anything, So, I think anyone who wants to, choose athletics as their profession, it takes a certain mindset and a certain dedication and just a willingness to, endure the hardships that a lot of people, in any sport don't have. So I give respect to anyone in any sport.
And then we got another question here. What was your, let me pull it up. What were your feelings when your first child was born?
He looks just like me. It was cool. I was really worried. I was really worried I wasn't going to be able to walk because I just had my surgery. It was a really, really big deal to me. So, or not be able to drive Lauren to the hospital. You know what I mean? It was a really, really, really big deal. So once I could do that, and I couldn't walk great, but I could walk, I could stand, and it was just absolutely amazing. It was, I remember he finally came out, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, it's me. It's literally me. And I think we got. I must have stayed up all night in the hospital. Lauren fell asleep, and I stayed up all night and just kind of playing with him. And we spent a couple days in the hospital. I remember the drive home from the hospital was maybe 6 miles. I was so scared. I was going 45 on the freeway with my hazards on. You know what I mean? I was just freaked out. Because my child's in the car, and so no, it was amazing, man. As if I needed any more motivation, because once you have something to live for that's much bigger than yourself, your motivation goes to the roof, because now it's not one of those things where it's I really want to be the best in the world, or I really want to get back in there. It's I got to be the best in the world. I got to be a champion. I got to get back in there because my son deserves to look at his dad and go, wow, my dad did that. I wonder what I can do. So it's motivation in a little baby-sized bottle.
What's the toughest part of fatherhood right now?
Time, because he requires a lot. I don't want to say he requires a lot of time, but he deserves a lot of time. You know what I mean? And I want him. And I can't tell you how many times that I've wanted to, go work out, and I walk by and see him. I end up playing with him, and 2 hours have passed. You know what I mean? And So that's why I've gotten really good at, I've gotten very accustomed to 4 a.m. workouts. I'll put it to you that way.
Is this him just falling asleep at 4 a.m.?
He usually sleeps pretty good. And I got to hand it to Lauren. Lauren's super mom, man. if it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., she'll wake up and she'll do what she needs to do to, get him back to bed. And but he sleeps really well. And yeah, I usually, I can't tell you how many times. I've tweeted a ton of pictures working out at 4 or 5 a.m. So, but it's like once you're there, man. Like for example, like I remember I did my first round of stem cells, and it's so painful. And I just, it helps so much when you close your eyes. I just think of my son, because I got to do this for my son, because it's freaking painful. And then every time, like I was training with Lanil night before last, and there's just certain movement he's trying to teach me, and I just can't do it because my knee just won't go that way. And he was there, and I was so frustrated, and I was like, oh, how am I going to go back and be the best wrestler in the world, and I can't even do this. And I went home that night, and just, you stare at your son. I'm like, came back in an hour early the next day. I was like, I'm getting this, and then nailed it. You know what I mean? So it's like the hardest part is being away, but at the same time, it makes it the easiest too, just because it's like I got something. I'm doing this for something bigger than myself now. So it's it's good and bad.
So he's the added motivation that's gonna put you over.
Oh yeah, I'm a pretty motivated guy to begin with.
Now it's tenfold.
100-fold. Like it's not a question that I want anymore. It's I have to. So.
Okay. We'll wrap it up here.
I try to get Lauren out here to answer some questions.
Yeah, there's one that someone asked. I think she kind of covered it. But we know, what's in store for your future as far as come back. You said, at the latest November.
Yeah.
What would you want to say to all of your peers that are still going at it and possibly have forgotten about you?
I'd say good. Yeah, forget about me. Because, like I said before, I like being that underdog. You gotta realize I was a guy that wasn't supposed to make it. I wasn't 6'5", and from recruited by this out of college, or from Philadelphia, or my dad was a wrestler. Like I was a small town guy from the middle of nowhere. I wasn't supposed to make it. When Shawn Michaels was doing his big WrestleMania match, they weren't supposed to be talking about me, but they were. I wasn't supposed to be champion, but I was. I wasn't supposed to come into TNA and turn the place upside down within a year, win more tag titles than any team in history within 1 year. But it did. So, just remember, put you this way. When you're sleeping, I'm working. When you're taking it easy, I'm working. When you're relaxing, I'm working. You're going to wake up at 5 to train, I'm going to wake up at 4. I'm not saying I'm the most talented guy. Damn sure not the biggest guy. But no one's going to outwork me. So, just keep that in mind, and the actions will speak louder than words.
We got one more question here. It is from, I'm not even going to attempt to say that. Who is your favorite high flyer?
It depends on how you want to define. It's so hard to define what a high flyer is now, because a high flyer 5 years ago was not the same today. They're nuts today. But mine was always Dynamite Kid, because you gotta realize when he was the first guy I ever saw jump off the top turnbuckle, and it made sense. Nowadays, there's guys like Will Ospreay who are so freaking talented. He's a full-time guy in New Japan, and even the guys in WWE, Kalisto and those guys, they're so good. I just never. It is me. I've always liked that kind of just that meat and potato style wrestling. You know what I mean? Like getting there, just tough guys and beating the crap out of each other. And I've never been into the fancy stuff. You know what I mean? But that's that's my opinion. So, those guys are all talented, and they're sure as hell fun to watch. You know what I mean? I've wrestled with all those guys. I wrestled Kalisto, I wrestled Will Ospreay, wrestled all those guys, and they're athletic as all get out. So, can't like them enough, or can't say enough good things about them. But I'll just wait till you land, then I'll kick your head off.
All right. I think that's good enough. Anything you want to say to your fans out there that didn't get a chance to participate today, or?
Where you at? No, this has been great. It's always fun to sit down and talk, and we're having fun here. And there'll be a lot of, TNA has given us the blessing to film a series of my comeback. That's going to be closer to my actual return date, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I think it'll go in depth in my story, which is pretty cool. you may shed a tear. Just maybe, I don't know. And you look at my wife, who's hot as all get out. So it's a win-win, you know what I mean? But we'll be chronicling that, and I really thank TNA for giving us that blessing. That's really cool of them to do. So, yeah, this is not the end, it's just beginning. So, more to come.
Will you return to Impact Wrestling? I would love to see you become a 7-time TNA Knockouts champion. And that's Phenom AJ84, Andre Jones.
I mean, anything's possible. I'm not hiding anything. I literally don't have an answer to that, if I will be returning to Impact Wrestling or not. But I'm pretty much open to anything. So, you know, I already hold the record as a 6-time Knockouts champion. I know Gail is right behind me with 5, and same with Madison Rayne. So, if I were to return to Impact Wrestling, I could guarantee that at some point I would become a 7-time Knockouts champion. If that will happen, we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. And, you know, who was your favorite opponent to wrestle? Because from, you know, what I've seen, the Knockouts had always been one of the best parts of TNA, and your women's division is praised, you know, a lot. So who was one of your favorite opponents to wrestle?
So I suck at the favorites game. I'm just going to throw that out there. You can ask me my favorite anything, and I'll probably have 5 answers for you. I really liked wrestling Taylor Wilde. We trained together in Toronto, and we were in WWE Developmental together in Deep South. And I mean, we trained together, we wrestled together, we were in TNA together. And, you know, her and I could wrestle each other in our sleep, and it was very fun. I adore her and miss her terribly. I also liked wrestling Awesome Kong. Scared to death every time, of course, but her and I are actually very good friends outside of the ring, and I just adore her. She became one of my favorite people to work. Gail and I have always had awesome chemistry together. I had my one and only so far last knockout standing match with her, and you know, we really brought out the best in each other in that match. The finish almost killed me, but that was very fun. And you know, Madison Rayne and I have always wrestled each other a million times, and we were on the road together for quite a long time, married to each other, and it was very fun wrestling her. We would always go out there, have a good time, put on a good show, and we travel together as well. So you know, we've been friends, we've been enemies, and so the wrestling life goes.
Okay. And will there be is there a possibility, once again, we're all talking about possibilities here, of reunion of the beautiful people?
I mean, I guess it's always possible. We've had a million reunions already. I don't think we ever should have broken up in the first place, but, you know, we're women, we're in wrestling, and we have our arguments and our good times and our bad times. But, I mean, it's possible. We could reunite anywhere. You never know. You'd wait and see.
Okay. And you said you got a couple of offers on the table, and I'm sure you're taking time to enjoy your son and your husband and you know, everything that comes with being a mother and childbirth. When can we expect to see you on television in the future?
Well, that's a very good question. I honestly don't have an answer for that. Could be next month, could be in the fall. You never know.
Okay. And
But you will at some point. I will let you know that. That will definitely happen.
okay.
Where yet, I don't know. But it will happen.
All right. And you know, just based on what you've seen with Wes, and you know, you've been out 11 months as well. Are you eager and anxious to get back? You know, you've had some work. You said you were a little winded when you returned to the independent scene, but what's the difference between that and you know being at the Impact tapings and being with a bigger crowd, and when you're in those smaller rooms, it's more intimate, people are closer to you. Can you tell us the difference between those two?
You know, when I was with TNA and we would tape TV, you know, obviously it's a bigger spectacle, but you know, some independent promotions, you know, make giant spectacles out of their shows as well. Sometimes more than what TV TV wrestling companies do. So, I love wrestling, period, whether it's WWE, TNA, the Indies, whatever. I always have fun. You take 11 months off of doing anything, you're going to come back and be maybe a little rusty, a little winded, but, I did really well. I had a lot of close friends tell me that I didn't even seem to miss a step. So, and I've had a few matches since then, and it's been no problem. I've been doing it for 16 years, so I got back on the horse pretty quickly. So it was really fun. Doing TV is really fun because it's a different atmosphere in the way that I'm not exactly sure what it is, but you just know that you're, being filmed and it's going to be shown around the world. And sometimes you don't really pay attention to that until somebody tweets you and they're like, I'm a fan from Portugal, or I'm a fan from Egypt or France. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even think about being shown to the world that much, literally worldwide. And I mean, that's such a cool thing to be able to say that you do for work and, for your own personal fulfillment and, something that, for me especially, you've been passionate about since you were a kid. That those are definitely the kind of things that you want to have for yourself. So it's really fun.
Okay. And we're getting some more favorite questions. So
Oh boy.
a bunch of those. Here. Favorite match in your career?
Very hard to say what my favorite match would be. There's a ton of matches that I'm very proud to be a part of. The first time I won the Knockouts title, I was unconscious. So I would love to say that was my favorite match, but I don't remember the last few minutes of it. My last knockout standing match with Gail, that really took me outside of the box of what I would normally do in a match. So I like that. You got to think outside the box. You got to do different things and still perform and be you and do the best you can, and that's always fun as well.
Some good strides here. I think we're pretty good shape. Let's kind of wrap up with you here.
Both sides are a little bit.
Will you show up in WWE? And I am looking forward to seeing you on TV from J_Cody.
Crazy, but it's not like every.
I don't think we need to answer that again.
Well, I appreciate that. I love being on TV too. It's super fun. But yeah, WWE would be amazing. Love it.
And this is from Sean Rhodes, King Sean _IHWE. Would you consider doing small independent shows in Texas?
Sure. I do small independent shows anywhere.
Okay. And just going through a couple of more. Favorite tag team of all time?
Well, I think we know the answer to that one. Even before I married one of them, I was a super huge fan of the Wolves. I just think that, here's the thing with the Wolves, and I think that a lot of people will agree with me with this, is they just have this connection with their fans. And I'm doing this thing when I talk. Wes says I talk with my hands a lot, and I'm like, I'm making a point. They just have such a huge connection with their fans, and it's something that I felt, and it's really cool to be on the other side of the fence and to be in the business and still get that kind of feeling as a wrestling fan, watching the Wolves perform and just the connection they have with their fans. It's literally magical. Like, it gives you goosebumps. And their following is so strong and so committed to them. And I mean, I don't blame them. I'm still am a part of it. I married into it. But yeah, I can definitely say that, there's a lot of great tag teams out there, but, you're not going to find two guys more talented or determined than the Wolves. The Wolves are awesome.
Okay. And a question from, I'm not going to attempt that name. How does your work schedule look like?
My work schedule.
Yes.
Work-wise, wrestling, I'm booked every weekend, which is awesome. To be able to be coming back from having my son and have a busy weekend warrior schedule again. And I'm also an esthetician, and I have a job about 10 minutes away from my house that I do during the week. I just graduated school for that in April. And so it's really cool to be back in the real world workforce. Haven't been in that in a while. And to be making money, for my family outside of wrestling as well.
Which one do you need? Coming in for you. I think think your fans are a little more involved than the Wolves Nation. I'd love to know what her workout routine was to get back in the ring so quickly. This is from the King of the Mountain podcast.
Well, luckily, when I was pregnant with my son, he was very good to me. He's crying right now. I was all belly with my son. My husband is a workout machine. And when I was pregnant, I stayed in the gym and did very smart workouts throughout my pregnancy. Because, I would have my ice cream, I would have my mac and cheese, I would enjoy myself, but I was also very healthy because I know what I'm eating is what's going through my son as well. So, I was always in the gym, and it got harder, obviously, when I was around 8-9 months pregnant because I gained 29 pounds in my pregnancy. So I was already carrying quite a bit more weight than my frame's used to. But then coming back, obviously you have to be gentle with yourself because what the female body goes through when you grow a human inside of it and then give birth is just unbelievable how we can bounce back from that. And we have a gym in our house, so, it's very easy for us to just go out in the backyard and work out. So, my husband's been rehabbing, and I'm kind of almost rehabbing too from having a child, getting your body back to where it was before, if not even better. So, we've posted a lot of our workouts, and, we train hard and we eat well and we take care of ourselves, and it's really important to us. So I have to do a lot of cardio. You can't really prepare yourself for bumps when you work out too much. So, but that just came back pretty quickly since I've been doing it for so long. So.
Okay. We'll ask a couple more here. Have you ever thought of doing a mini documentary on your life/workout so fans can get to know you better?
I have not actually thought of that. I feel that with just me being around for so long that my fans probably know me pretty well. In fact, some people seem to know me better than I know me. But I have had people ask me to film my workouts and stuff, so that's always been like up in the air. I just never remember by the time I go work out. But we'll take little clips and we'll put them on Instagram and we'll Periscope things and stuff like that. So.
Do you want to draw a line to your social media?
Oh yeah, Twitter @actualALove and Instagram alove4, the number 4, life 222. My favorite number. Look it up if you want to know what it means.
We got a question from Richards Wesley.
Oh boy.
His name is Davey Richards.
This should be good.
How come you can't drive a manual transmission?
Why would you? Why would you drive a manual transmission when you can have an automatic car where you put the key in, you turn it, the car starts, you put it in drive, and you go? You don't have to worry about a clutch. You don't have to worry about where your RPMs are. You don't have to worry about first, second, third, fourth, fifth, neutral, all these gears and pushing the clutch and taking it off and putting it in first and hitting the clutch, and then your car dies in the middle of the street. That's pointless to me. I just want to turn something on and I want it to work and I want it to drive, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Thanks for the question, Wes.
Thanks, babe.
More WWE questions, more people questions. Favorite WWE diva at the moment?
Who is like favorites? The Divas division is awesome right now, and NXT as well. I'm super proud of all of them that are a part of that because they are kicking butt and living their dreams, and that's what this is about. I know Sasha Banks just won the WWE Women's title this past Monday on Raw, and I know that she's been a fan her whole life, as I have myself, and to be able to win the most prestigious women's belt, in the industry is, I can't imagine anything bigger than that. So I think that she's awesome. I think that she's on top of the women's wrestling world right now, and I'm really happy for her.
Okay. And I think, is TIm Horton's coffee still the best?
Yes. if there's anybody, God bless you. If you have never tried Tim Hortons before, I luckily grew up on it. We have some at home in the cupboard, and yes, Tim Hortons is definitely the best. Everything about Tim Hortons is the best. Sorry, Starbucks. Sorry, Dunkin' Donuts. Tim Hortons is the best.
Looks like you're trying to get I'd get you a sponsorship. So we can finish up with there. It doesn't look like we have anything else coming
Okay.
in. We want to thank you for your time as well. It's always a pleasure speaking with you and your husband. So good luck in the future.
Thank you.
And when you make that decision to come back, do it with this camera.
What?
I said do it with this camera. when you
Oh,
make
yes,
that announcement.
absolutely. Quantity Media, at Quantity Media, QWANTITY Media.
She's like the only person to ever get that right.